Pre-trip in cab, perform a safe start, push in the clutch, make sure the vehicle's in neutral, turn the key into the on position, wait for the startup cycle to happen, and safely start the vehicle. Next, I have my 3 reflective triangles. They are present and they are not bent, cracked, or damaged. I have my fire extinguisher, which is mounted and secured, is not bent, cracked, damaged, or leaking, and it is not expired. I have 1 fuse for each type. The next, my highway horn and my city horn both work. Coming down, my windows and mirrors are not cracked or damaged. They are clean, and my mirrors are adjusted to me. Also, to remember to check our camera on our dash, make sure that that is properly working. My windshield wipers and fluid. Windshield wipers are not bent, cracked, or damaged. Fluid is working properly, and my windshield wipers keep my windshield clean. Next, I move to my defroster and heater. Defroster is properly working. Heater is properly working. And my DEF tank has no less than 1/8 of a tank in it. My left turn signal, my right turn signal, my 4-way flashers, my low beams, and my high beams properly work. I'm going to start my brake test now. I'm going to push in the clutch. Truck goes into first gear. I test my trailer brakes first. So I'm going to disengage the tractor brakes. I'm going to slowly release the clutch. And the truck should tug, but not pull forward. She does just that. I'm going to switch them. So I'm going to engage my parking brake, disengage the trailer brake, and the same thing. Slowly release the clutch. Truck should tug but not pull forward. Now I'm going to test my service brakes. So I'm going to disengage both brakes, foot on the clutch, and I'm going to accelerate to 5 miles per hour. Push the brake. Bring the vehicle to a complete stop. Does not move left to right, indicating the brakes are working properly. Now I'm going to test my governor cutoff. I'm going to rev the vehicle up to 1500 RPMs or 15 RPMs. And I'm going to hold the RPMs until the gauges get to 125 PSI. At that time, I'm going to hear a release of air underneath the vehicle, indicating that the tanks are filled up and the governor cutoff is properly working. Heard the release of air, that means the governor cutoff is working. Now I'm going to shut off the vehicle. Release my foot from the clutch. Next, I'm going to test my ABS. So I turn the key into the on position, watch for the lights to come on and turn off, indicating that the ABS system is working properly. Next, I'm going to do my minute test. I'm going to pull out my phone, put my foot on the brake, apply pressure, and I'm going to time for exactly 1 minute. And during that time, I shouldn't lose more than 4 pounds of pressure with my trailer, 3 pounds of pressure whilst bobtailing. Okay, my minute is up. I release the brakes, double check the primary and secondary air gauges. I haven't lost more than 4 PSI. Next, I'm going to test my low pressure alarm system. I'm going to fan the brakes down to below 60 PSI. I should see and hear an audio and a visual alarm. I do. So now I'm going to continue fanning the brakes. Below 40, closer to 20, and my valve should pop out, indicating that the emergency brakes are working. We've got 1, and we've got 2. The emergency brakes popped out, System is working properly, and that concludes my in-cab. Okay, so now that we're done with our in-cab, we're gonna have the tester go outside. They're gonna stand out in the front, and they're gonna give you the thumbs up, and we're gonna do an out of the vehicle lights operations check. Left turn signal, right turn signal, four-way flashers, low beams, and clearance or marker lights. The high beams, and then we just do our brakes. So as I approach the vehicle, I'm going to look for suspension issues, see if the truck's sagging to the left or the right. And then I'm going to start at the top with my clearance lights, my four-way flashers, and my turn signals. They're all mounted and secured. They're not cracked or damaged. They're the proper color amber, and they are working. Then I've got my low beams and my high beams, which are mounted and secured. They are not cracked or damaged. They are clear or of no color, and they are working. And then finally, I look underneath the truck, and I don't see anything hanging or dragging, no wires, no puddles, no any other fluids. So now I'm gonna go up to the truck and I'm gonna open up the hood, 3 points of contact and support. And we're gonna start on this side, top to bottom. Got my coolant reservoir, which is mounted and secured. It is not cracked, damaged, or leaking. I would check her here and I would fill her here with the engine cold and off. Then I come down to my oil. How do I check my oil? I pull out my dipstick, I wipe it clean, I reinsert, I pull it out, I check the level. And if it needs fluid, I put it right there. Then I got my power steering reservoir, mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Check and fill here. Then I've got my power steering gearbox, which is mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or leaking. And we just do a general on all our hoses and make sure there are no air leaks or any other fluid leaks in around the engine. Then I've got my 6 points of steering as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're secured at both ends and they're not bent, cracked, or damaged. Then I've got 3 castle nuts as follows. 1, 2, and 3. They're all present and they're secured with their cotter pins. I also have 3 bushings. 1, 2, and 3. They are not excessively worn and they are properly greased. Done with the steering, I'm going to move on to my suspension. Got my front hanger, the rear hanger, and the shackle. Mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, or damaged. And I've got leaf springs, which we only say there's none missing, there's no scissoring, and there's no shiny metal. Then I've got 2 U-bolts, which are secured with their nuts, and they are not bent, cracked, or damaged. Shock absorber, mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Check for leaks right here in the center. That wraps up the suspension. We're going to start on our brakes. Brake lines, secured at both ends, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and no leaks. So brake pad and liner, no oil or grease present, that would affect braking. So now we come to our tires. We do 3 things on our tires. We do condition, depth, and inflation. We start with the overall condition of the tire. There's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and there's no leaks. The tread itself is evenly worn. Both tires match. These cannot be retreads up front. And with a gauge measuring out, you can't have any less than 4/32 of depth across all major grooves. Now that I'm done with that, I got my inflation. Check your fill here, valve stem and cap are present. And if it needs air, I follow the specified rating on the side of the tire. Then I've got my rims, which are mounted and secured. They are not bent, cracked, or damaged, and they're free of illegal welds or oblong holes. Then I've got my lug nuts that are present and tight, and there's no rust trails or shiny metal present. Okay, then next up, we got our traffic monitoring devices, which include our mirrors and our cameras if we have them. The mirrors and the camera are mounted and secured. They're not bent, cracked, or damaged. The mirror's clean, camera is working. Then we got my fuel tank, which is mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or leaking. There is no metal-to-metal contact on the straps. The fuel cap and seal are present, and they are also not leaking. Okay, so if your truck has a DEF tank, you'll need to check the DEF fluid too. Check here, fill here. And it's not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Then I go back here, I got a turn signal. Turn signal is mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or damaged. It is a proper color of amber, and it is working. Then coming back here, starting top to bottom again, I've got my airlines. Airlines, red and blue, are secured at both ends. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and no leaks. The glad hands are present. They are not bent, cracked, or damaged, or leaking as well. The seals are also present, and they are not leaking. Then on my pigtail, which is secured at both ends, or my electrical if you want to call it that, secured at both ends. No abrasions, cuts, or exposed wires. And then finally, I say that All my wires are not overly twisted, nor are they dragging on the frame or the catwalk. And now I got my frame, which the frame is present, it's not bent, cracked, or damaged, and it's free of any excessive holes or illegal welds. Then I've got all my batteries. Batteries themselves, mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, damaged, or leaking. There's no excessive corrosion. The wires are secured at both ends, and there's no abrasions, cuts, or exposed wires. Then coming back down here, continuing on with my coupling, I've got my apron and my skid plate. So the apron and skid plate mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, or damaged. There is no gap in between the apron and the skid plate, and it is properly greased. Then I've got 3 components down here. I've got my pivot pin, which is secured with a locking pin, which is locked in with a cotter pin, or in the Peterbilt's case, a nut. Then I've got my release arm, which is mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or damaged, and it is in the locked position. The pins are present. They are in their locked position. They are not bent, cracked, or damaged. All other hardware is present and tight. No rust trails, no shiny metal. And now the whole thing is lined up into place to where I have no less than 3 feet of clearance between the back of my tractor and my landing gear. And then finally up underneath here, I've got my locking jaws and my kingpin. So kingpin and locking jaws are mounted and secured. They're not bent, cracked, or damaged. The locking jaws are surrounding the shank of the kingpin, and there's no shiny metal present. I've got my DOT tape, which runs approximately 50% of the side of my trailer. Then I've got my landing gear. Landing gear itself is mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or damaged. Leg and foot are in the upright position. Handle is in its stowed position. Coming back here, I've got my cross members, which are all mounted and secured. They're not bent, cracked, or damaged. I got my turn signal, which is mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or damaged. It is amber in color and it is working. Then I've got my adjustable tandem frame, which is mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or damaged. I've got a release arm, which is mounted and secured. It's in its locked position. I've got 2 pins. They're also in their locked position. Then coming back here, I've got my ABS light. ABS light itself is mounted and secured. It's not cracked or damaged. It's a proper color amber and it is working. Okay, so now at the back of the trailer, we're gonna double check for clearance lights. I don't see any, so we're just gonna do our 5 basics. Left turn signal, right turn signal, 4-way flashers, brake lights, and tail lights. They're mounted and secured. They're not cracked or damaged. They're the proper color red and they are working. And then finally, DOT tape runs 100% of the back of my trailer.